So how are you going to remember the year 2020?
Obviously, it was of a lockdown year, and the way I enjoyed in this stuff of isolation.
Really? You enjoyed in isolation?
By my tone, you should understand it, right?
Okay, okay, I got it. Well, definitely don't restrict this year 2020 to be the lockdown year. Why don't you remember or why don't you recollect that 2020 was witness to the massive inflow of foreign investment into our country, which is emerging. It shows us that the India is emerging to be one of the investment hotspots as such, and there are plethora of opportunities opened up too. And the onus is now on us, the CAs, as CA aspirants also, as partners in nation building.
Totally concur with you. But the grappling economy has hit big time to the MSME sectors, which form another great chunk of GDP contributor after agriculture. CAs who command expertise in the field of finance and related ancillaries are expected to help the MSMEs to revive and reboot their opportunities too.
True. Totally agree.
And for the last technical session, future endeavors. Now I call upon Satvik, session MC, to take over.
Thank you, MC. Mahatma Gandhi once said, and I quote, "The future depends on what we do today." With this quote, good evening to everyone virtually present here. Welcome to the fourth technical session for today on the topic Future Endeavors. John Ruskin once said, and I quote, "Quality is never an accident. It is always a result of intelligent effort." Our today's session's chairman is the member of IFRS Advisory Council. He was the chairman of Accounting Standard Board for the term 2019-2020. He was also the chairman of Valuation Standards Board for 2018-2019. He was the vice chairman of Expert Advisory Committee for the term 2019-2020. He was also the vice chairman of Financial Review Reporting Board for the year 2018-2019. He has been the nominee member of Financial Reporting Authority for 2019-2020. He has also been the nominee member for SEBI Committee on Disclosures and Accounting Standards for the term 2016 to 2019. Presently, Sir is the director at XBRL India Limited. Sir is also the director at National Internet Exchange of India. He has been the Chief Financial Officer of SIFY since 2007. He was the member of Board of Studies, Auditing and Assurance Board, International Affairs Committee, and many more renowned organizations. He has experience of over 20 years of teaching subjects like accounting, financial reporting, and corporate law. He is also known for his publications on subjects like accounting and auditing. Let us all welcome with a huge round of applause CA Vijay Kumar MP sir. Our first speaker for the day resides in Dindigul, Tamil Nadu. She has written her inter exams in December 2020. She had presented her paper on the role of CFO in the National Conference for CA students conducted by Vijayawada branch in December 2020. Let us all welcome with a huge round of applause Ms. M. Shanmuga. Our second speaker is currently undergoing his articleship in Suresh and Company. He loves cricket and binge watching TV shows. He has done his 12th standard into St. Joseph's PU College, Bengaluru. Let us all welcome Akshit K. Jain with a huge round of applause. Over to MP Vijay Kumar, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Greetings to all. Thankful to CA Phanindra and Branch Managing Committee for the invite. I'm quite impressed with the choice of topics for the session. I had the opportunity to read the presentation material prepared by these two children, Shanmugapriya and Akshit. Both of them have brought in all the relevant topics, relevant points for the topics they would be addressing. I'm sure it will be a very good value add to each of you listening to them. On behalf of each of you here, my hearty compliments to them. I will invite each of these two speakers to address on the topic. I will speak any material point left out by them at the end. It is the students' conference. It is the students' day. And they have earned the opportunity of addressing you. And I believe they should get the maximum time they have earned with their hard work getting selected to present before wonderful young minds who have assembled here in this meeting. Without much ado, I now welcome Shanmugapriya to start with her presentation. And I would request the MC there to coordinate the timing of the speakers. And after Shanmugapriya, we'll listen to Akshit. And after both of them speak, I will address any material points if they have missed out. Over to Shanmugapriya.
Sir, is my PPT visible, sir?
It is Shanmugapriya, except that you have to do a full screen of that. You have to do a slideshow. If you are using Windows, function F5.
Okay, sir. Sir, I hope my video and audio is also clear, sir.
Perfect. Best wishes. Go ahead.
Thank you, sir. A very pleasant evening to one and all present on and off the virtual dice. I am M. Shanmugapriya, hailing from Palani, Dindigul district, Tamil Nadu. And are aware what day is today. Today is Republic Day, the 72nd Republic Day, which we are going to celebrate, and we have already celebrated with pride. And on this auspicious day, I take the pride in speaking something valuable and which contributes to our nation. That is, I'm going to take about the topic CAs as a partner in nation building. If you go and ask a layman who is a chartered accountant, what will be his answer? He can just give us advice on tax matters, he can reduce our tax and so on. But that is not the sole role of a chartered accountant. Chartered accountants are involved in many more tasks other than reducing our taxes and checking the debits and credits of accounts. But they contribute a wide variety of roles towards the development of our nation. On 1st July 2017, when GST was launched, all of us would have heard the address which was given by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi sir at the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. While addressing the state, he quoted a famous line, "आपका सिग्नेचर भारत के प्रधानमंत्री के सिग्नेचर को भी वो ताकत नहीं है जो ताकत एक चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट के सिग्नेचर के होते हैं," which means the signature of a chartered accountant is more powerful, even more than the signature of the Prime Minister of the country. That is the amount of trust which the society puts on our chartered accountants, my friends. When we sign the financial statements of a company, it becomes the audited financial statement. Government, society, all of them place enormous trust on this financial statements. They take those statements as evidences for all matters. So that was emphasized also by our Prime Minister at the address rendered on 2017. What is the role played by ICI? I want to just give a gist of it. The ICI has played enormous roles in bringing out molded chartered accountants so that they can contribute to the development of our nation. Till now, there are 5 regions, 34 chapters abroad, 164 branches, and more than 3 lakh active members, 8 lakh active students, with nearly 1 lakh students joining CA course every year. And as per our President CA Abdul Kumar Gupta ji's message on 1st January 2021, there are 64 global locations across 43 countries. This is the role that ICI has played. Now, the CA profession is one of the most respected professions that has been in practice after qualifying one of the most stringent curriculum. In the toughest exams, we have been given the highest status in the society. Now, for your information, I would like to quote some eminent chartered accountants. Kumar Mangalam Birla, the founder of Aditya Birla Group, Deepak Patel, Naina Lal Kidwai, she's the first woman chartered accountant, Motilal Oswal, founder of Motilal Oswal Group, T.N. Manoharan sir, all of us are aware who is he. Piyush Goyal sir, he has also served in the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Ministry of Food and Public Distribution and so on. Aditya Puri sir, Rakesh Chandwala sir in the stock market, TV Mohandas Pai, Kumar Thakur, S. Gurumurthy, Suresh Prabhu and Rameshwar Thakur. And the list goes on. So through this, we come to know that CAs play eminent roles in the government sector, banking sector and whatnot. Let us go ahead to discuss these roles. Chartered accountants as auditors. We as chartered accountants are serving as the main role of auditors, where we perform audit of books of accounts as per the prevalent laws. Almost all laws prescribe many methods of audit, like we have audit as per the Income Tax Act and as per the Companies Act, where there are many other different provisions. As tax advisor, here we have to reduce the tax burden of the company because the tax is a cash outflow which is going to affect every organization, and this should be to the most minimum extent possible, and this should be done through the legal means. Here I would like to quote an example how the auditor should reduce tax in a legal manner. For example, while computing capital gains. Full sales consideration. Suppose a has sold land for about 60 lakhs. Imagine the tax that he would have to pay for 60 lakhs. So, in order to reduce his tax liability, what would we ask him? We can ask him, have you made any improvements on your land? So, if he has made, and if there are any documents, we can accept it as an evidence and deduct the cost of improvement from the full sale consideration to the extent possible, so that we can reduce the tax to some extent. In corporations also, Next is the role of project financing consultant. Project. What is a project? When a business undertakes a particular activity, we call it a project. So the chartered accountants play an important role in financing the projects of the business. Now that means our client. We can just give him advice on whether the project will be fit for the concern, whether the concern will strive if it undertakes the project. That is the role here. Forensic auditor. What is forensic? All of us would have seen in many films what is forensic activity take place. Forensic. Over there, we just go to identify frauds. So in a forensic audit, we go to identify whether any frauds have affected the enterprise. Role as a subsidy advisor. We help the client to get an eligible subsidy from the government, which ultimately increases the profit of the business so that the government can get taxes. A deal maker. Here, the chartered accountant involves in getting together two companies, making effective deals, and so that both of them can earn and both of them can grow. As a financial doctor, we as chartered accountants have expert knowledge in finance. So, we are regarded as financial doctors. We have to advise whether the firm can adopt any sources so that they can save money, which ultimately leads to increased profits and thereby gives taxes to the government, which benefits the economy. Heading to the roles which the chartered accountants can play in business. Are experts in Sir, may I know if audible and my video is visible, sir? Hello?
You are audible, Shanmugh, and video is visible. Please,
sir, actually your video was not visible, so I had a just clarification.
I think you have a network issue at your end. Perfectly fine. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So I'm continuing with my presentation. The CA supports general tax compliance. He represents the assessee on all taxation matters in attending hearings to the income tax department on behalf of the assessee. Now there is a new scheme of faceless assessment which has been introduced, and a speaker has already spoken about it in the conference. In faceless assessment, which the client will not be knowing properly, he won't be able to check his mails regularly. Maybe the chartered accountants check their mails of the clients and involve the clients and themselves in faceless assessment or paperless assessments. Now, what is the role in financing? He addresses the clients on various sources of finance where the cost of capital will be minimum. Accounting and assurance. Now, this is the important role when we as chartered accountants play. Accounting, auditing, and accounting all of us are familiar of. What is auditing? Auditing means it is the examination of books of accounts. Nowadays, it's being carried on both physically or virtually, however it is possible. But we examine books of accounts, vouchers, documents, etc. to get a knowledge about the genuineness of all business transactions. Investigation.
Shanmugh Priya, we are unable to hear you.
Great roles in management accounting. They advise management on decision matters like what are the requirements for generating finance and so on. Financial and investment planning and FDI. Chartered accountants play great roles in mobilizing foreign direct investment. And also render financial advice so that the firm can make adequate finance and investment decisions. Cost accounting. Hence, I've also heard that CAs have also acted in film industries. You know how They have learned cost accounting in a CS syllabus, and with that, they are reducing the cost and they are increasing profits. So they also serve in rendering cost accounting related advice to the clients, like cost control, cost reduction, and so on. Share valuation at the time of takeovers. Chartered accountants are also called upon to value the shares of the firms at the time of such acquisitions or mergers or takeovers. They also render general business support, like what are the businesses which can be done by the clients. Some clients may come and ask, like they may have excess funds and what business can be done. So I heard my principal talking about any new business that can be undertaken by a client. Executors and trustees. I've already mentioned chartered accountants are trustees to their clients. The client's information is being passed upon to the chartered accountants so that it will be confidential. So we are the trustees in the sense that we are allowed to execute the bill at the time when it is necessary or when a successor takes upon the organization and whatnot. Enormous roles have been played. Next, we move on to management advisory services. Here, that we as chartered accountants render certain advisory services to our clients regarding implementation of software. It may be ERP software. Here, I would like to share my experience.
Let's wait for a minute. I think she lost network. How much more time is there for her?
2 minutes up.
2 minutes. Okay.
Last 2 minutes.
Yeah. Let's wait for a minute. If necessary, give her an extra minute or two.
Sure, sir.
Yeah.
Shanmuga Priya?
She's back. Shanmupriya?
Sir, am I audible, sir?
Yeah. I think you have other 2-3 minutes. See if possible without
Okay, sir.
presentation so that you can save time and you can tell your points. Okay,
Okay,
please
sir.
go ahead.
So, shall I have the permission to share my screen once again, sir?
Okay, please go ahead. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Sir, just a minute, sir. I'll reconnect, sir. Sir, is my PPT visible, sir?
Not at Shanmupriya.
I think you can go ahead without PPT. Shanmuga Priya?
Sir?
I think you can go
Just
ahead
a minute,
without...
sir. Sir, is it visible now, sir?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, please go ahead, Shanmugapriya.
Yes, sir. Friends, sorry for the technical issue. So now we were talking about how CAs serve as executors and trustees to their clients. When we act as executors, we as chartered accountants sometimes will have to execute bills when a successor takes up the business. And trustees in the sense that we are trusted by the entire society, including the government. Then the next role is management advisories services. Here we render efficient roles as what are the softwares which can be implemented by the business organization. I would like to share my experience where I was asked to be introduced to a client and explain that particular client about the what are the modes of maintaining accounts under the law. And he told me you have to talk to him in a language that he understands. There I had to learn from my principal that how to speak in the language of the client, where he just told you just write down the debits and credits. Whatever balance you have as cash, you put it there and your both the accounts should tally. So this is the management advisory services which have to be rendered by chartered accountants. Then C is as an arbitrator. Arbitration means settlement of disputes. Now, when we have disputes in the process of insolvency or bankruptcy or liquidation, CAs are called upon to resolve issues and prepare statement of affairs and go on with other proceedings. Then the most important role, the principal, teacher, that is the teacher. We see as students addressing our boss as a principal when he inculcates the practical knowledge in young budding chartered accountants. Molded chartered accountants shaped out well in character come out in future, which gives further contribution to the nation and thus contributes to nation building. That's why Ratan Tata, whom we all know, rightly said, I need an MBA to run my business, but I need a CA to teach my MBAs how to run the business. Before concluding, the topic given to me has a correlation with the theme of the conference, aptitude, attitude, and altitude. Aptitude means knowledge, attitude is the sense of feeling which a person has, and altitude is the height. So, CAs are loaded with aptitude, that is knowledge in various streams of commerce like finance, banking, and so on. And also, they have those aptitude with, they have to implement 5 P's: planning, preparation, practice to perform, perseverance, with which they can achieve the highest altitude possible. Now, moving on to conclude my session, history has a task of repeating itself, and the chartered accountancy profession is not an exemption. So, we as chartered accountant professionals and for us as students, my friends, we have to play excellent roles so that the future generation chartered accountants follow our footsteps and emerge as budding chartered accountants, more energetic and more active than us. So, we have a better India. Thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. Jai Hind, Jai ICAI. Thank you.
Well presented, Shanmugapriya. I think you actually regained your calm very well after the network issue. God bless. Over to
Thank you,
Akshit.
sir.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, Akshit, you're audible. Shanmugapriya, you can remove your share screen. You
Yes,
can
sir.
undo your share screen. Go ahead, Akshit.
One second, sir. We are sharing the screen.
Sure, sure, sure.
Good evening to one and all present here, and also to those present virtually over the call. A happy Republic Day to everyone present here. My name is Akshay Jain. I'm a 20-year-old CA final student studying in Bangalore. Currently pursuing my articleship with Suresh and Co. Chartered Accountants. And I would be talking on the topic role of CAs in reviving the economy post COVID-19. Let's get started. We'll have a look at first the session points, the points of discussion. At first, we'll look at the background of the Indian economy, at how the economy was faring pre-COVID and how it's going on post-COVID, in conjunction with the top industries that got impacted. Next up would be the key focus areas for CAs to revive this economy. And next, at last, we would have what's the way moving forward. So let's get started with the background of Indian economy. We'll first look at what was the situation pre-COVID. Okay. At first, even before the pandemic hit India, the slowdown in GDP growth was worse than the one we had seen in 2011 and 12, wherein it fell from 10.9% to 4.9%. Again, the slowdown in GDP growth, we started seeing it from the last quarter of 2017, and it hit the lowest point in quarter 4 of 2020, wherein it reached a low of 3.9%. Now, there are several factors behind it, like a reduction in output of industrial sectors, then the decelerating growth of economic activities due to implementation of GST, because the cash sectors were hit. Next would be because of all of this, India's dream of reaching a $5 trillion economy was impacted. The government tried to revive this slowing down economy by introducing amendments into the budget. Now again, once this situation was trying to come up, then came in the corona. So let's look at what was the situation after the arrival of corona. Now, corona entered into India somewhere late in March, and as and when the lives of people started getting affected, it was declared as a global pandemic situation by the concerned authorities. Now, government across globe imposed nationwide lockdown, and because of this, several sectors of the economy were forced to shut down. Now, as a rolling impact, many employee workforce are also laid off. Now, this resulted in the sharpest contraction in GDP, which was seen in decades since 1996, wherein GDP contracted by 23.9%. Now, that was a great impact. Now, after having looked at what happened to economy, the negative side of it, let's look at the positive side of it. There are many macroeconomic factors which played a great role in improving the deteriorating Indian economic situation. Like the government introduced the stimulus package to revive the downfalling industries. The FDI policies were liberalized. Several business houses shifted from China to India. Taking the recent example of Mivi, which shifted its manufacturing unit from China to India, and several businesses were forced to restructure, reinvent, and adapt themselves to new technology, promoting a digital India. Now let's have a look at the top industries that got impacted. First were the farmers and grocery vendors, wherein the supply side of it was affected, wherein the farmers were not able to get the grains and fertilizers to cultivate crops. The vendors were not able to get the output to end consumers. Again, since there was a restriction on movement of people, aviation and tourism industry also took a huge hit. One common thing that we noticed was many of the employees got laid off, and this was not in particular to any particular industry, but impacted all the white collar jobs and blue collar jobs. Domestic migrant workers, they also remigrated, citing security issues in the pandemic hit cities. Now, consequently, all the labor intensive industries were hit, like the manufacturing industries, real estate, construction, transportation, even the retail traders got affected. And since there was restriction on movement of people, the automobile industry and the e-commerce industry also took a hit. Now, having understood the background of the economy, let's look at the key focus areas for CAs to revive the economy. Let's first look at the policy making. Now, we CAs play a big role in making policies for the nation. Now, we are the foundation base of the economy, and only because of us, even as acknowledged by Prime Minister Modi, that it's helping the country in improving the financial position in terms of policy making. Now, let's look at the few contributions made by CAs in terms of policies. Now, we CAs know the ground reality of which industries have taken a huge hit, and we help the government in designing these relief packages. Uh, a good example for that would be MSME sectors were given relief during COVID, wherein Government of India offered to give collateral fee loans and also gave them extension in terms of credit period. In terms of if you look at MBFCs, then the government offered to guarantee the debt taken by them from the market. Then there were reliefs given in the electricity sector too. In terms of if you look at real estate, certain states like Maharashtra, they reduced the stamp duty so that they could encourage more and more buyers into real estate. If you look at a common man's perspective, then we see that there was reduction in TDS rates, TCS rates. EPFO policy was amended, wherein government offered to contribute 24% in case of certain employees, and we also play a big role in assisting in assisting making of this budget policies. Let's look at our role in business restructuring. Now we CAs play a big time role in terms of business consultant in driving key business strategies, both in terms of long term goals and short term goals. This pandemic forced several business to restructure themselves, and we were at the helm of it. Let's look at the key contributions. First was reassessing the key performance indicators, wherein, if required, we suggested suitable changes in terms of product mix, the geographic mix, again, basis demands and margins. Second would be cost optimization, wherein we contributed to cost cutting, suggesting cost cutting measures, streamlining processes to have budget control. Next up would be exploring the strategic partnerships. A good example of that would be Byju's, wherein Byju's acquired White Hat Junior, just citing potential opportunities in future, defining internal controls and risk mitigation process. Now, is in a scenario wherein we are working from home, it was very important for management to have good control on the work processes so that the efficiency and the effectiveness in work is still there, and also ensuring that the data which is given remotely to its employees, it's done in a secured manner so that there is no loss of data. Hiving off the non-strategic businesses, it's said that it's better to cut off an amputated arm than to allow it to infect the whole body. So it's better to cut off those sectors of the businesses which are not really getting you profit in this pandemic situation. Drawing revival plans for companies, wherein one thing we have seen is there were many businesses which were doubting their future as a going concern entity, and it was our responsibilities that we draw up some sort of a revival plan, restructure plan to get those businesses back on track. Next up would be aiding to your financial needs. Now, wherein we saw that majority of the businesses, they were seeing a downfall in the revenue, not even enough to cover their fixed costs. It was very important for us to aid to financial needs of businesses, wherein several businesses were facing acute shortage of funds. And we CAs not only play an important role in managing finance, but also supporting those funding transactions. Like suppose if we are getting funding from an overseas investor, then adhering to all these SEBI regulation, FEMA regulations was another responsibility of ours. Then managing the cash fund, cash flows, that is reassessing the accounts receivable, accounts payable, taking overdraft facilities where necessary, procuring lower withholding TDS certificates for companies so that there is no blockage of fund in terms of working capital, getting fundings for businesses from the government and also from other opportunities, so that we see to that we take advantage of all the avenues available to us, so that we can get all the businesses back to its pre-COVID stage. Next up would be adapting to advanced technology. Now, one thing what we have seen over here is the majority of the not so tech savvy industries, they took a huge hit because they didn't have the basic infrastructure to work from home. And our fraternity in this terms was much way ahead, wherein we were able to sail through this situation. Our fraternity started investing into machine learning, all these AIs, so that not only human efforts are reduced, but also the effectiveness that goes into a work is increased. Now, the advances made by us were updating the ERPs and also looking at the safety features of it, wherein we are giving workforce remote access to it. Next would be adopting to technologies like virtual meeting room, cloud computing, like the one of Microsoft Access, Microsoft Teams. And also, one major point is OIT by AI. Now, OIT is one field wherein our fraternity is seeing much more growth, and we are foreseeing a good technology advancement in this field. Wherein an OIT by an AI can do all of the basic OIT procedure like the sampling, inventory checking, wherein now there's no manual intervention required, and we can more focus on other value addition activities in OIT for our clients. And next up would be importance of IT audits. Now, this tech industry is growing at such a great pace that we need to again upgrade ourselves so that we are able to advise our clients in terms of how they can better implement their IT structures, and we have made those capable advancements as required in our industry. Widespread opportunity for talents. Now, since our fraternity has moved so forward that we have allowed people to work remotely, talent is meeting opportunities over here, wherein CA firms are hiring talents that can work remotely, and also these talents are getting recognition which they couldn't have got if they weren't there in jurisdiction of certain firms. Next up would be robust infrastructure to support accountability and transparency. Now we are seeing that Sensex is running at an all-time high, and this has created some sort of a curiosity in investors that there might be some speculation activity involved in it. SEBI as well as investor want quality financials from the companies, and at this stage, VCS play a very important role in bringing into utmost transparency, and by reporting in a crunch manner on a timely basis, giving all those quarterly reports to ensure that we vote transparency to all the stakeholders, as well as ensuring that there is enough investor protection. Now, let's look at what's the way moving forward. Now, one thing we know that revival of this economy is not a short-term process; it's a long-term process. And to revive this economy, we need to get back all the businesses back to the pre-COVID stage. Now, it needs to be done out in a phased-out manner, wherein the first stage could be to protect the businesses from all the threats that this COVID has posed to them. Then, second would be business continuity and stability, wherein we need to ensure that we get these businesses back to the pre-COVID stage up and running. Third would be accelerating through recovery, wherein seeing so much advancement in the Indian economy through technology, we can allow these businesses or make these businesses go through great technological advancements to boost the economy. Last would be retool for the new world. In this phase, what we can do is we can upgrade ourselves for the new world, for a new normal post-COVID. Now, one thing that we have seen over here is COVID has given us tough situations. Now, we using our financial expertise, being the pioneers of this economic growth, even though COVID has hit us hard, we can have a comeback, and this will be a comeback that will be remembered in the histories. So that's all from my side. Thank you. A big thank you to the SICASA committee, also to our chairman, Pahendra Gupta sir, also to the session chairman, Vijay Kumar MP sir, and my firm for giving me an opportunity to come and present over here. Thank you.
Thanks, Akshit. Amazing presentation by both speakers and very inspiring. In fact, given your age and the exposure you have, some of the thoughts were very mature, and my compliments to both of you. I recall an observation recently made by the Honorable Minister for Infrastructure, Sri Nitin Gadkari ji. I think it was on 18th January at Delhi, on CAs as partners in nation building, and gave his own experience of engaging with a chartered accountant way back in 99, 2000. I don't know how many of the people who are listening in this student conference are aware. Mr. Nitin Gadkari is known as the infrastructure man. For the country now, he heads the infrastructure, but he has his success in infrastructure building when he was part of the Maharashtra state government way back in 99, 2000. In fact, much of what infrastructure is there in Mumbai, people credit to him. He was giving an example of a project in Mumbai where they got a bid from a private sector company for about 3,600 crores. And he was a strong believer that national resources are very scarce and we have to deploy it very effectively. So he got an advice from a chartered accountant that let's work out a project cost as to what is the actual cost which will be incurred on doing this project. The government can create a special purpose vehicle and implement the project. To their surprise, the cost was about 1,600 crores versus the tender bids of 3,600 crores. And this advice came from a chartered accountant. And the next question was, where is the money? And they hardly had 5 crores in the pocket. So how do we go and raise the money? So then the same chartered accountant had advised him on the fact that infrastructure projects have a stream of revenues through toll and all. And that particular stream of expected revenue can be hypothecated and money can be raised. And that's how they went and implemented that project and they replicated that model. So he was speaking so high about the way the chartered accountant has helped him himself to become identified as an infrastructure man. But those two bits of advice made all the difference. And what better example that chartered accountants are partners in nation building. I'll try to be brief and add a few points on each of the two topics. The economy, we all are familiar that this year it will contract by 7 to 8%. And it is important that economy has to get back on rails. And for this, we need to do a few years of double-digit growth. When I say double-digit, whether it's 10, 11% growth, it's a huge number. It's a huge number. It looks a little difficult on the face of it, but my view, it is imperative for the country. I don't think we have a choice. I don't think any of us here have a choice. Having gone down from a particular $3 trillion economy by -8, when you should have actually grown +8, which was important for ensuring the people of India have reasonable income. If we have to just catch up that gap itself, 1 or 2 or 3 years of double-digit growth is an imperative. It is a situation like World War II, which destroyed Japan, and it bounced back to be the third largest economy in the world. I think the situation is like that. India, with its huge consumption population and demographic advantage, can bounce back faster and bigger than the other economies. What better example than the fact that this COVID, I think amongst all the nations in the world, I think India is one of those few nations which has managed it so well that we are almost at the verge of forgetting 2020 and the COVID and all. We'll just take some of the positive learnings from God's act of putting us on our knees and asking us to be humble. While we are on the world, while we are the fifth and sixth largest GDP in the world and will become the third largest GDP in a decade, important for all the young minds who are present here is to recognize an important concern, which is also the opportunity. It is a concern, but at the same time, it is an opportunity. While as a GDP we are large, the per capita income, the per person income is very, very low. It is hardly 5% of the per capita income of the top three GDPs. So it's so small individually. So if our per capita, the per person income doubles or triples, that itself will ensure that the GDP growth is pretty big. And here is the big opportunity for us. CAs have played a huge role in India developing to where we are now. Right from the freedom struggle, where we had Mrs. Shivabhogam, the first lady chartered accountant who actively participated in freedom movement, including going to jail several times. CS, we saw the presentation of Shanmugha Priya. She gave an illustrative list of people who have contributed to nation building, and Akshit had given some suggestions on how we can revive the economy given this particular stressed situation we are in. It is very important that we should not lose sight of the following. As chartered accountants, it's very important we take pride on the contribution we have done for nation building. It's important at times to pat our back also and remember our responsibilities and the ability to do more. I'll just give you 2 points. There are many, but I'll give you 2 points. I have been a beneficiary of this globalization, liberalization, whatever we may call, which happened in early 1990s. My career started in 92 and here I am at 2021. And once the economy opened up, from there to now, I have been witness to a phenomenal growth in the economy. I still remember having seen poverty, hunger, unemployment when I started my career. What it was then to now is far, far an improved situation. All the foreign direct investment and foreign institutional investors in India, and also the private savings of individuals like you and me, which goes to industry either through capital market or through the banking system, has been possible only because of, I repeat, only because of qualitative financial reporting. If people are investing, if people are lending money, the decision is based on the financial statements, financial information. If that financial information is not qualitative, nobody would invest that kind of money. So whether it is preparing financial statements or expressing an opinion, I think it's been all around chartered accountants only. In fact, I think the boy who was the MC for this technical session, he started off mentioning that during the pandemic, the very first month, April, India had raised some trillions of dollars of money. No other country in the world had it. So when the whole world was bleak, here was someone raising capital. How would somebody put money unless they have confidence in the financial information they are getting? And who is giving that confidence? That confidence is being given only by the chartered accountants. Second, all of the government's social economic activities, particularly for alleviation of poverty and for better education, health, and other infrastructure, is all funded through taxes, direct and indirect. I'm sure each one of you here, even based on your limited articleship experience, first year in articles, second year in articles, I'm sure each of you will agree that the chartered accountants have guided the industry on what these legislations mean and the importance of payment of these taxes. And it is this huge amount of taxes which have actually helped the government to pursue its socio-economic initiatives. Of course, there are few instances of misreporting or tax frauds. While we all work to address these gaps, every economy has these challenges, including the developed ones. I don't think US, UK, Germany are exceptions. They also have the same challenges of some companies misreporting, some audit failures, some tax frauds. Having said this, each of us are committed to quality financial reporting and compliances, which is a huge contribution to nation building. Ensuring good governance in businesses you are associated with, ensuring sustainable businesses leads to economic growth, higher taxes, and more employment. I invite each of you to explore for the future a few areas of professional opportunities beyond traditional areas of practice and contribute to both nation building and revival of the economy. You are all at a very advantageous positioning of age. You are all 20, 21. And over the next few years, when you start your careers, if you can make some big bang kind of an approach, I'm sure those contributions will go a long way for reviving the economy as well as nation building. I want to leave two thoughts. In this direction. While each of you here listening to me are looking at pursuing a career either as a practicing chartered accountant or in industry, I would urge you to explore entrepreneurship and startups as well. There is no course other than chartered accountancy which gives a young person at the age of 19, 20 to understand business. In fact, during your articleship, age 19 to 22, whatever age, you are at a very unique position, irrespective of the size of the firm, whether small or large, irrespective of size of the firm. You get opportunity to look at least 5, 6 businesses, 3, 4 businesses, different clients, different sizes, different industries. And at this age, you get an opportunity to understand for each client is in restaurant business, trading business, software business, or any infrastructure business, whatever business, you get an opportunity to get insights into all aspects of business. Mark my words and trust me. Mark my words and trust me. You can check with your parents as well. If someone is in industry as head of sales, head of marketing, head of production, age 40, whatever age, that person will have access inside that company only with reference to his function. Somebody who is head of sales, he can be called director sales, he can be called president sales, general manager sales, whatever designation. He will never have access to the production functions, production records, the commercial function, procurement function, what prices things are being bought from where. He will never have access. The same is true with others as well. And just look at you at the age of 19, 20, 21. Any client you go, you have unrestricted access to every function of the organization. You can go and access what's happening in the sales department, marketing, production, IT, treasury, HR, whatever. Imagine for a particular 2-3 clients, all the 3 years of articles. First year I've gone, second year I've gone, third year I've gone in between for tax audit. So, and I have got so much insights on a business. Which other kind of a profession or which other person can ever get access to this kind of an understanding? Please look at what the articleship is offering to you. It's not about ticking a few papers, it's about understanding business. Your audit standards require understanding of business, including for tax audit. And understanding business means understanding all these aspects. And at a very young age, you get to interact with senior people. You know how to meet senior people, entrepreneurs, directors, CXOs, finance heads, business heads. And when you learn a business closely for 3 years and get a deep understanding of the same, and with so much of digitalization happening, and exposure the institute gives to students. And ICA is the only accounting course which has been imparting IT education as part of curriculum. You are in such a unique position that you can decide to start entrepreneurship. Just imagine 3 years of articleship. Among the several clients, 1 or 2 entrepreneurs have spotted you. They've spotted the spark in you. Every entrepreneur wants to expand his business. Either he wants to expand geographically or upstream, downstream. And if you have a business solution where you tell him that I will meet your upstream requirements, I'll meet your downstream requirements of procuring, or I'll meet your geographical expansion. That entrepreneur who has seen you for 3 years and whose heart and mind you have won will not hesitate to bet on you. Here is a 22-year-old youngster. I am prepared to bet one expansion on this boy or girl, one expansion. So during this period, it's very important that you are able to get that kind of mind share. I would encourage all of you to look at entrepreneurship, and it can be in areas other than accounting and finance. We will soon touch a $10 trillion economy, and it may happen in 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, but that will certainly happen. No shortcuts. Some may succeed quickly, some may take time. My only advice to you is have perseverance. I think Shanmugh Priya's last slide, where you had Dr. Abdul Kalam talk, He talks about that word perseverance, and my own experience, it pays. Sometimes it tests you that I'm putting effort, it's not coming. Putting effort, it's not coming. But have that perseverance, it does pay. And I've seen lots of entrepreneurs who have been beneficiaries of that. No compromise on ethics and values. Remove the myth of corruption. It does not affect us. When we are competent, there is nil corruption. I'll give you a small example. In fact, for young minds, many times it gives an impression that if I start business, there's so much corruption in the ecosystem, can I handle it? I can tell you, I work for an enviable organization like Sundaram Finance. I've been in practice for about 9 years, and I've never had to face this situation. As long as you are competent, there is nil corruption. I'll give you a very simple example. Let's assume you are at the traffic signal, and after the green light, you have taken the left, police guy stops you. You confidently stop your vehicle, show all the papers and move on. But let's assume you took a turn when there was a red signal and the papers were not in your hand. The moment the cop stops you, your hand goes into the pocket and things start otherwise. As long as you are competent, you will hesitate and you are so confident that you will not do it, and the other person will also not expect it. So remove that myth in your mind. It's a fairly clean world, There could be some exceptions, but don't get disturbed by that. There are many people who do business very, very cleanly, and there's no reason why you can't do. The second thing I would like to leave as a thought beyond the traditional areas, explore agriculture. Leave aside the current noise on farm laws. Unfortunate what happened in Delhi today. Leave all that aside. India will see huge growth in agriculture and agriculture processing. There will be a lot of technology embracement in agriculture. And as professionals, many of us who want to stay aligned to nature will have a good opportunity to work in this area. As I conclude, would like to impress upon you that our profession is all about being accountable, answerable. Make it a habit that I am answerable. Accounting means accountability. I am answerable. And that culture, you have to embrace it. So whether it is at home, with your parents, with your principal, with your peers, accept that fact that I am answerable, I am accountable. That DNA is very important. And also realize that financial reporting, balance sheet, income statement and all, and audit opinion is a communication. Financial statement is a communication. Audit opinion is a communication. And like any communication, this communication should also be truthful and complete. Compliments once again to the two children for the wonderful presentation. Wish you all a very happy 2021. The world is yours. Dream, work hard, stay focused, and make your parents proud. Do not deny yourself the joy of seeing parents proud and happy with your achievements. While you are their life and matters to live for them. I would conclude praying God to bless each of you. Stay safe, stay accountable. Thank you, Phanindra, for the opportunity to be part of this technical session and to listen to these two children. Over to the MC.
We all know that MP Vijay Kumar sir is a great legendary of South India. For this, I would like to quote few lines of one of my write-ups on the topic Pranama Pranama. Please, sir, please take these 4 lines for you. ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಯ ವಿಕಸನಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕು ಈ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಇವರಿಲ್ಲದೆ ಆಗದೋ ವಿಕಸನಕ್ಕೆ ಬುನಾದಿ ಮಾರ್ಗವ ತೋರುವ ದಿವ್ಯ ದೀವಟಿಯೇ ನಿಮಗಿದೋ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ ಪ್ರಣಾಮ. A person to mold up himself, he need guru. He need the assistance of his guru. The person who lights up the roadway for his success is none other than guru. Pranams to you, sir. Please accept these 4 lines of mine.
Thank you for those words. Deeply humbled.
Thank you, sir, for enhancing, or if I were to say, strengthening our perspective towards professional ethics with respect to qualitative reporting as the most important element, the important element of trust is reposed on us, the CAs, by various stakeholders, and it is the onus on us to live up to their expectations. We as CA aspirants undoubtedly look up to role models like yourself, sir, for teaching us the same, so that we live up to the expectations that the society imposes on us as the CAs. Thank you, sir. Thanks, sir.
Now, I would like to propose vote of thanks on behalf of Bengaluru branch of ICAI and SICASA. I thank our session chairman, CA Vijay Kumar sir, and our student speakers, Shanmugapriya and Akshit K. Jain, for their valuable time. Thank you. Over to MC.
Thank you, Satvik.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. It's a common aphorism that we've been hearing since our school days, right? But I would like to say all sessions, kind of brainstorming sessions and without any cultural touch to it makes any event a very monotonous one, right? If you're thinking on the same lines as me, then you're not in for a disappointment, as we have our renowned classical singer Vatsa going to give a beautiful rendition on the patriotic song on this event, on this occasion of Republic Day. Over to Vatsa.
Thank you so much, Dayani. ಏಕಾತ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ ಶತಕೋಟಿ ಕಾಯಗಳ ಧಮನಿಯೊಳು ಬುಕ್ಕುತಿಹ ನೆತ್ತರೊಂದೇ. ಏಕಾತ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ ಶತಕೋಟಿ ಕಾಯಗಳ ಧಮನಿಯೊಳು ಬುಕ್ಕುತಿಹ ನೆತ್ತರೊಂದೇ. ಹೃದಯದೊಳು ಸ್ಪಂದಿಸುವ ಭಾವವೊಂದೇ. ಹಿಂದುತ್ವವೇ ನೆಲದ ಮೂಲ ಮಂತ್ರ. ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಭೂಮಿಗದೆ ಜೀವಯಂತ್ರ. ಹಿಂದುತ್ವವೇ ನೆಲದ ಮೂಲ ಮಂತ್ರ. ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಭೂಮಿಗದೆ ಜೀವಯಂತ್ರ. ಏಕಾತ್ಮ ಭಾರತದ ಶತಕೋಟಿ ಕಾಯಗಳ ಧಮನಿಯೊಳು ಉಕ್ಕುತಿಹ ನೆತ್ತರೊಂದೇ. Thank you.
That was a soulful rendition indeed, Vatsa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for the same.
Yes, we all are waiting for one particular session, isn't it? All the audience who are present over there. It's none other than the final round of quiz, and top 3 winners will be receiving 3 exciting prizes. So get ready to answer your questions on chat box. Are you all ready? Let me see in chat box. Yes or no?
So we're going to take the names of those participants who are going to give us the maximum number of right answers, and you're in for some goodies at the end of the event. All right? So let's begin.
Yes.
Are you all ready, guys? Say yes. Yes. So the first question.
The first question. Which agreement was signed at the end of India-Pakistan War of 1971? Which agreement was signed at the end of India-Pakistan War of 1971? Answers, please. Yes.
Yes, it's Simla or Shimla Agreement. And the first one to give the right answer is Harshita Kothari.
Kudos.
Second question is,
The second question. Rabindranath Tagore won the Nobel Prize in the year 1913 for the book. I need the book name. Rabindranath Tagore won the Nobel Prize for which book?
yes, Harshita Kothari gets it right this time too. It's Gitanjali. Yes, 2 points to Harshita. Well done. Third question, please.
Where was the first world's granite temple was built? World's first granite temple was built. The place name.
Or if you're sure about it, even the name of the temple could do.
Yeah,
Either of the two. Or both. But no bonus points.
correct. Answers? I think you all are googling.
Yes, Shiv Shankar gets it right. It's Brihadishwara temple at Tanjavur in Tamil Nadu. Yes. Shiv Shankar and Anjali both have given the right answers, and Anjali has given it along with the place name, I guess. So both of them, yes.
Yeah,
right.
both of them.
Both of them gets it right.
I think the
Yeah.
scores need to be noted for both
Yes.
Shiv Shankar as well as Anjali.
Shiv Shankar and Anjali. So the next question, please.
Sanskrit is the official language of which Indian state? Sanskrit is the official language of which Indian state? Please
UK.
expand it.
Of course,
No
UK.
short forms.
United Kingdom. Uttarakhand. Yes, you're right. Uttarakhand.
I
So
think
I think the one who's typed their full name will be getting the point, and that's Shiv Shankar gets it. Uttarakhand.
next question. Indian Standard Time refers to the local time of which city? Indian Standard Time refers to the local time of which city? Yes, answers?
No, it's not Mumbai, it's not Mirzapur.
Allahabad.
It's Allahabad. Padmavati Gaikwad gets it right. Yes, it's Allahabad. Next question, please.
Next question. Which one is the first avatar of Lord Shri Vishnu from his Dashavatar? Which is the first avatar of Lord Shri Vishnu?
No, it's not Vamana, Sikapati, it's not Kurma, it's Matsya. Harshita Kothari gets it right for the third time. Yes, Harshita is leading, I guess. Right? Yes, she's leading with 3 points.
Yes, still 3 more questions. After that, if any breaker is there, we go on.
Next question.
Who is known as the father of Indian Green Revolution? Who is known as the father of Indian Green Revolution? Full name, please.
Yes, Harshita Kothari gets it right this time too. It's MS Swaminathan. Yes. I hope you're not Googling it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to agree. It's fast.
Next question. Who had created a Guinness Book of World Records for writing 3,524 songs in 650 films over 33 years in Bollywood? Who had created a Guinness Book of World Records for writing 3,524 songs in 650 films over 33 years in Bollywood? Yes.
Yes, Sameer. Yes, Sitapati Shankar gets it right. It's Sameer. Yes, Shiv Shankar, you're right too. But the first one was Sitapati. It's Sameer Anjan. Yes. Next question.
In which stadium did Sachin Tendulkar complete his 100th century? In which stadium did Sachin Tendulkar complete his 100th century? No, complete name. Yeah, I
Anjali Goyal gets it right. Sher-e Bangla National Stadium, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Yes, it's right.
And next question. Who is the first recipient of Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award? Who is the first recipient of Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna?
Vishwanathan and Anjali Goyal gets it right again. So are you noting that? It's Anjali.
May I know the scoreboard?
That's
Yes. By end of this session, we came to know that
Ashrita has won this quiz competition with majority of points.
so
So-
first place is backed by Harshita,
Kothari.
second Anjali, and third is Shiv Shankar. Kudos to you all. Congratulations.
Kindly check your private chats. We are asking you certain details so that we can send you the goodies with respect to that. Yes, thank you all. Thank you all. It was indeed a very nice session. Refresher session as such.
Yes, indeed. It's time for us to move on to valedictory session. I now request Shubham, PRO of Sikasa Bengaluru, to escort CA Panindra Gupta, Chairman Sikasa Bengaluru, onto the dais. And I request Yatish, Vice Chairman Sikasa Bengaluru, to escort our judges, CA Rajkumar sir and DTM Ramlal sir, onto the dais. And also, I request Kanchana to be present on the dais.
Yeah, hi. Good evening, everyone. I request the paper presenters to turn on the cameras. So, before we proceed with the most eager part, we request one of the paper presenters, that is Srivatsa, who had presented on business communication, to give an impromptu speech. Over to you, Vatsa.
Yes, good evening to one and all present here. As I have been given to speak on impromptu, I would rather like to take on the topic which I spoke yesterday, that is on business communication itself. As I have mentioned my real-time experience mentioning on the Sikasa Speakers Forum, I also would like to mention the criteria which this particular forum develops in us. We have particularly 10 projects which molds you to be a pro communicator in future days. I had asked this one particular question to one of my friend, why should I need to give the speeches regularly in the forum? What makes me to give And if I give, what will happen to me? I was so obsessed after giving P1, Project 1, Project 2, which is the basic necessities that you need to incorporate in your speech, like icebreaker and opening body and conclusion, which include. I was so keen that when will I reach my project, and which is the final stage where only 4 has completed till date, where the forum has been introduced from past 2 years, which is the most critical one. After entering to project 6, which gave me a topic on vocal variety, which made me to think of to give some innovation in it. So I just chose for my project 6 to speak on the word smile or on the word laugh. The different kinds of laughters which I introduced, I would like to mention few of those also over here. We all know, we all laugh every time and we make a comedy also. One of the kind, okay,
Good efforts, Vatsa. So, to promote SSF, Sikasa Speakers Forum, so I just wanted to bring forth before you live impromptu session, that is butterfly session. So I request Satvik, Christy, and Yatish, Lakshmi, and Srivatsa to come on to the dais, and Dayani also. And now I request our judges to give topics. So for 1 minute, so your no, not to discuss. So one by
Lakshmi, your topic is don't judge a book by its cover. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Don't judge a book by its cover. I personally believe that this is the best proverb I've ever come across, one of the best proverbs. The tendency of a human mind, basically, if you see any person, you start judging that person based on how they have dressed and all that. But then when you actually come to know that person, you would be astonished just to know, oh my God, this person is an entirely different person from what you know. I believe all of you would have this instance in your life. Even in my life, there are a couple of instances like this. One of the instances that I can quote is about my manager only. So initially, when I met my manager, he was very stern, and he wore all that coat and all, and he was very stern, and his voice was very stern. So the first time when I met him, I thought, okay, I'm going to have a very good time in my articleship. It's going to be a really very hectic time. But then I saw that this person was the most calmest person I have ever met. Being a CA, taking so much of pressure on him, yet he had this knack to calmly deal with stuff. And that is when I realized that you should never judge a book by its cover. Thank you.
I request Dayani to speak on beliefs and disbeliefs.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity, for giving an impromptu on beliefs and disbeliefs. What exactly are beliefs? It's a reflection of your own core values and ethics, and that over a period of time becomes your beliefs. And you are so stern on your beliefs that you oppose any resistance to your own beliefs, right? And disbeliefs are those, I would like to say, which are against your core values. And how are these values built up? It's a habit over a period of time that accumulates as your ethics, that becomes your beliefs, and that which is against your habit, or that which is not your cup of tea kind of, the areas, becomes the disbeliefs as such. And I'm sure every one of us are very unique with our own set of ethics, our own set of beliefs, and our own set of disbeliefs. Fundamental rights do give us the opportunity to talk against those beliefs which we think are against the public opinion as such. We have the right to question others' beliefs. We have the right to question others' disbeliefs. But we also have the right to question ourselves, if at all we are actually wrong. If somebody else is seeing that we are wrong, we need to get into the shoes of that person and think through his perspective as to what is actually wrong. And if it's actually wrong, I mean to say, in the common parlance of public institution or public beliefs, then give a thought about it. Don't be stubborn on your beliefs and disbeliefs, but also don't be stubborn to accept others' beliefs and disbeliefs too. Yes, so that's how we can harmonize our thoughts and channelize to an effective and efficient and radical society. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Your topic is the purpose of life is a life of purpose. The purpose of life is a life of purpose, Christy.
So my topic is the purpose of life is the life of purpose. So basically, what do you mean by purpose? Purpose is something what you want to do or what is your goal. That is your purpose. So how you define your purpose? The purpose makes a person what you are. What do you want to achieve? What makes you a person is your purpose. See, I'm standing here right in front of you, just because I have a purpose in my life to become something great, to make other people, to motivate other people and make others, to make myself a better person and be humble. That is the purpose of life. And the purpose itself makes your life. What is your purpose? That becomes your life. If I'm into CA, that is my purpose. So my entire life revolves around my CA life. That is how our purpose defines our life. My whatever is surrounding around me, it defines, and it depends upon how my purpose is. How my purpose, what is my purpose? That is what my life is. My entire life surrounds around what the purpose of my life. If I want to be in Sikasa Forum, my entire life revolves around the Sikasa Forum. If there is a meeting, I should come here, or I love to come here, and I have selected the CA profession. I'm surrounded with people who are CAs. This is my purpose, and I have chosen my purpose. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity. Thank you so much.
The final topic goes to Satvik. Words are reflection of your mind. Words are reflection of your mind. Over to Satvik.
Good evening, everyone. I got the topic. Words are reflection of your mind. Right now, you're a human being. You can see, you can talk, you can smell, you can hear, and you can feel. But how does other people know what's going inside you? Can they read your mind? No, they cannot. The only way someone can know about you is through words. What we speak becomes our impression in another person's mind. Suppose we speak something wrong, we will have a bad impression in other person's mind. Suppose we speak something right, we will have a right impression in other person's mind. Right now, I'm in front of the laptop screens or mobile screens in front of you. I'm speaking. Right now, I got the topic. Suppose I wouldn't have got a topic, you would, and I couldn't have been able to speak, and without words, you wouldn't have known what is going inside my mind. The only way you through your laptop can know what's going inside my mind is through the words I speak. So, suppose I compliment someone, it means I like their work. Suppose I give someone a remark, it means I don't like their work. So, the only way we can connect with people is through words, And that's why words are a reflection of the mind. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and thank you, judges. So we just wanted to give you a flavor. This is just the starting, the trailer kind of how Sikasa Speakers Forum works. To give you more details on it, I request Vatsa.
Thank you, Lakshmi. This is what Asikasa Speakers Forum Bengaluru produces a pro communicators to the society. The two icons who are present on the stage, that is DTM Ramlal sir and CA Rajkumar sir, they mold us with their wonderful evaluations every Sunday morning from 8 to 10, which they will be present. Each week, every Sunday, we conduct this particular forum, and now it's virtual. You all can join virtually and give your speeches, give your impromptu speeches, and you'll definitely be a pro communicator after taking the evaluations. I had mentioned one quote: feedback is a breakfast for champions. The feedbacks or the evaluations, what they give for us, we need to take it as a breakfast. When we have it and digest it completely, definitely you'll be a pro communicator in future, no doubt about it. It's our urge that you all need to attend this particular forum and get benefit out of it. Sikasa Bengaluru is organizing many competitions and many of the forums kind of this stuff for you all, for the students' purpose itself. We need to be thankful for this. So I request everyone to join Sunday morning from 8 to 10. For further info, we'll be giving the contact info of the Vice Chairman so that he'll guide you all for joining this particular forum and be benefit out of that. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I hand over my stage to our judges.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to announce the results now. Who do you think is getting the second prize? Any guesses? It's Shanmugapriya. And the first place, Harshit Kotari. How the evaluations happen and the details will be shared by co-judge Mr. Ramlal. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was one of the finest paper presentations that I ever witnessed. They say the ability to speak is a shortcut to distinction. The ability to speak is a shortcut to distinction. It puts a person in the limelight and raises him or her head and shoulders above the crowd. This is how we have evaluated all the paper presentations that we witnessed. Okay, you know, the anatomy of a successful presentation has 4 components to it. The first one is understand your audience. Did the audience enjoy your presentation? That's the first component, very, very important. The second component of a successful presentation is structuring your content. Content-wise, all of you are exceedingly good. Now, who stood out where it concerns structuring is the question. The third is called the delivery. How many times you rehearsed is what you display when you make a paper presentation. So we took that also into consideration. And the fourth point, which is very, very essential because all of you are displaying PowerPoints, and that is called good designs. How well you have designed your PowerPoint presentations determined our judgment. So going by all these 4 components, we arrived at the first and second prizes. Otherwise, all of you are winners, ladies and gentlemen. Please remember that the very fact that you made a paper presentation at this age itself is a plus point in your personality. At your age, I wasn't even able to stand in front of people and talk. And at your age, you have done this, a splendid job. Keep doing it. One day, you will hit the sky. All the best. Over to the Master of Ceremonies.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for insights on the judgment process which was taken on the selection of best paper presenters. Now, I request our chairman of Sikasa Bengaluru, Panindra Gupta sir, to speak a few words.
First of all, hearty congratulations to both Harshita Kotari and Shanmuga Priya. And I was
Thank you, sir.
with
Thank you, sir.
evaluating. So it was indeed only 0.5 marks difference when it compares to since it is virtual. So what best they have evaluated, the best way they have evaluated, and if it is in on live physically, so more than 1,000 plus audiences would be there. And now due to exams or due to again a holiday or I don't know virtual sessions. So even though there are very less strength, but at the same time, all of you had put your efforts to present well. And first starting actually when we thought of taking into the consideration these 2 days, 25th and 26th. So we thought more and more students will come because it will be a holiday, and it was other way around. So they were enjoying their holidays, but at the same time, so it was a really good initiative to bring forth paper presenters in front of you. And all the students, what I noticed out of this process from last 10 days, like the date of cutoff, on the date, everyone had the applications, whatever we have received, we have just stopped it. And afterwards, we have got more than 50 to 100 mails. So requesting for time extension, and everyone, so as what's also told, like once the opportunity is lost, it's like just like ice, so before it melts, you should grab it. So we couldn't do anything. So we, this is again wonderful initiative by Student Skills Enrichment Board to this will not bring forth paper presenters, encourage the student presenters to give paper presentations in students conferences and organized by students and hosted by students. All the students volunteer and the students committee people. So everyone or students, and for the students, for the betterment of the students. So with this, I thank all the students, presenters, and also all the students, attendees, and also the session chairmen who right, and also chief guest BP Rao sir, past president of ICI, and other various dignitaries, so who came forward and then supported our conference. And thanks once again. So before we conclude, what's that? You can take over.
Thank you, sir. Now I request dignitaries on the dais to present the mementos to paper presenter who are present over here, and the paper presenters who are virtually present, you will be receiving your mementos via post. I request our dignitaries to present a token of appreciation for Akshit Jain. Big round of applause. Now I request Ritik Jain to accept the token of appreciation.
Next in line is Vatsa, the paper presenter of day 1. I request him to go and collect the memento. Thank you, Emily.
I now request Sikasa committee to present a token of gratitude to our judges, DTM Ramlal sir and Rajkumar sir. Amidst this, I request our first best paper presenter, Hashita Kotari, to share a few words from your end. Please unmute yourself and please share a few words from your end.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for providing me this opportunity. And I have been first time a paper presenter throughout my CA journey. So this was my first presentation, and thank you for believing in my confidence and selecting me as a paper presenter. And I would love to do some more, get some more confidence from onwards. So thank you Panendra sir especially and others who have helped me a lot. And first demo was a bit blur and all. So thank you for giving me a second opportunity. And I would love to share my experience with all. And congratulations to all the paper presenters. Thank you everyone.
Thank you, Ashita. I now request Shanmuga Priya to share a few words.
Good evening, everyone. I'm deeply elated to have secured the second place in this paper presentation. Firstly, I thank the Sikasa committee who assisted me a lot with regard to technology. They gave me great support in WebEx app and they also guided me on its usage and so on. The next is I should purposefully thank the judges for selecting me because I agree that I'm a visually impaired student, but they have selected on equal grounds as equally competent to present with others. So thank you all for believing in my confidence. Next, I thank my father and sister who had also assisted me in getting myself connected to this virtual dais. So I thank one and all who are responsible for giving me the opportunity to participate virtually. Thank you.
Thank you, Shanmuga Priya. I now request one of our paper presenters present virtually, or sorry, physically over here, Ritik Jain, to share his experience.
So, good evening, everyone. First of all, a big thank you to all the members of the committee of Sikasa for giving us this opportunity on such a huge platform. And a very big thank you to the firm where I've been. So they have given us this opportunity to express our the way we work or express how things actually work in the world of the corporates. And frankly speaking, for me, it has been a great experience because knowing so many people or interacting with so many people, and on that basis, a process of learning too. And I don't know, this has actually been a great feeling for me because at this age, you know, having to share experiences with so many people who belong to the same field, who come from the same profession. So thank you everyone for this opportunity and congratulations to the winners. Thank you. Thanks so much.
I would like to propose a vote of thanks for the 2 days conference now. Just like a river has reached the ocean, we have reached our destination. But before we conclude, let's be grateful for this opportunity and also for those who made it happen. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it. So now we would like to present a vote of thanks for this 2-day mega conference. On behalf of Bengaluru branch of SIRC of ICAI and Sikasa Bengaluru, we would first like to thank the Student Skills Enrichment Board, Board of Studies Operations ICAI for organizing this wonderful event. We would also like to extend our gratitude to the chairman of Bangalore branch, CA Rabindra Kore. We would also like to thank CA Pandindra Gupta, chairman of Sikasa Bengaluru, and the entire managing committee of the Bangalore branch of the SIRC of ICAI for their guidance and support in the conduct of this conference. We extend our deepest gratitude to CA BP Rao, CA Dayanivas Sharma, and CA Babu Abraham, and also CA Geeta AB for gracing the occasion with their presence in the inaugural session. We would also like to thank CA Jai Chaira, Dr. Naveen Vishwesharaya for conducting all the special sessions which were extremely useful to all of us. We would also like to extend our gratitude to CA Vijay Raja, CA Pramod Jain, CA Natraj, CA Aniket Talati, CA Anand Pijangid, CA MP Vijay Kumar for chairing all the technical sessions that provided us with the knowledge that we'll carry along with our journey. We also would like to thank all the 8 student speakers who shared their knowledge with us in the most effective manner. We would also like to extend our gratitude to all the core committee members and the volunteers for their enormous effort and dedication towards virtual CA Students Conference. We would like to thank DTM Ramlal and CA Rajkumar for judging the technical sessions. We also thank the SSF for providing us a platform for helping us step out of our comfort zone and improve our public speaking skills. We also extend our gratitude to all the officers and staff members of the branch for their unconditional supports for the success of this event. Our sincere thanks to technical team, the photographers, and all the flower decorators and the printers, the caterers, our media partners, and all other vendors associated with the conference for this service. Last but definitely not the least, this conference would not be successful without you all. I would like to thank all the student delegates for their participation, and it's time we need to pat our back ourselves and give a thunder sound of applause ourselves for attending this session and making this a mega event. Thank you everyone. Enjoy the day. Once again, happy Republic Day. Good night. Take care.